lads.
I knew that.
Yeah, no, you're
You
dead
talked
right.
me out. 25 you said at one point. That's
outrageous.
Embarrassing.
Because think about it, and I sent in a graphic of a pitch here, and it's so much more apparent when you see the graphic. Between the 45 and the 65, there's obviously 20 metres, plus the middle section, and then another 20 metres between that 45 and the other 65. So you're talking 20 metres each side of the little 10-metre gap. So, yeah, you're talking 50
anyway. I was thinking in my head, I thought towards the pitch, it was about 45. So I was thinking roughly maybe 40 initially, but then obviously I bowed to you. I thought it was your superior knowledge, Joe.
No, don't ever do that again.
Learned that lesson.
so
that's even... Yeah, so that for me, like, I mean, that's 4 players. That's a huge chunk of the pitch.
Yeah, empty, basically.
Yeah, so basically you're going to be able to isolate. That's 1v1.
It is, yeah.
Because if you've got an absolute beast in there, you're going to put about 30 yards distance between him and the other player.
Split.
Yeah, and split. So basically you're going to have your best catch of the ball potentially up against the opposition's best.
Well, the other best, yeah.
Yeah.
The only downside with that is you could argue it has too big a say on the match. So say, like there's various components a team will have, and say one of those things is one fellow who's unbelievable in the air can't be beaten. I mean,
it sounds like special teams, not like a kicker coming on.
But if you adopt that rule and you maybe win every time you could win every possession, you could win every kick out, certainly your own one. The other team aren't going to kick it near that 45. But, there's an argument that maybe it's too big an advantage to give a team for just having one big lad who can catch
I would have thought, for me, like 8 players in there for me in that area.
Yeah. I think
you can't,
it's a bit too isolating.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't quite feel just the size. 20 metres now, 25, like you were saying. Okay, maybe. Although you still got to factor in the width of the pitch, a huge width there. So at least 8 in there for me makes a little bit more sense. Makes it a bit more competitive. You got a couple of players around the ball.
Look, if the GAA playing committee want us to swing by for an afternoon and
I think it's all good. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't rubbish any of those suggestions there. I'm not saying they're going to run with them all, but I think it's needed.
Have a look there, Kenny. We're seeing a goal from Manchester City late on. It's David Silva who's nipped in brilliantly, and what a finish. You talk us through this, Kenny. Brilliant goal for City. They're 2-1 up now against Hoffenheim late on.
This is important, Joe, because we were talking about the fact if they only take a point from this game, having lost the opening game against Leon, really potentially puts them on the back foot. I've a little bit of sympathy for the defender there, Joe. He actually takes a touch inside his 18-yard box. Now, some people will say clear the first time. By taking the touch, it's allowed Silva to pinch it off him and put it into the back of the net. But if you look how the ball bounces up, Joe, bounces up to his belly button almost.
What does he kick it with when it comes at him?
Exactly. Like a little bit lower, I think, possibly half volleys away, swings his leg at it, a little bit higher, he maybe even ducks down and heads it. It's that awful kind of height, but brilliant from Silva. Great anticipation, just steals it off him.
I think Silva realised the ball was coming in at a bad height.
Yeah.
And this could break for him. He just tapped it with his studs, and then the finish was good from Silva.
Yeah, it was a good finish. He just kept it low. I don't know if it went through the keeper's legs.
No, it didn't. Far corner.
Like you say, just target. But you'd expect that on his left foot under no real pressure. You'd expect him to find the corner from there. That's the context of the group, Joe. I know there's a few games to play, but like we said, not winning this game, if Leon were to go and get results, 6 points.
Yeah.
They got all to play for in terms of topping the group. So, yeah, potentially that'd be a really important goal to go on to win it.
So from 1-0 down this evening early, Manchester City have come back courtesy of Aguero and Silva, and now with 2 minutes to go, they're 2-1 up. Julian Nagelsmann is a weird situation with Hoffenheim. So he's going to Leipzig. They activated the €10 million release clause in his contract in June. They've agreed a 4-year deal. This is Nagelsmann, the 31-year-old wonder kid we've heard about for a long time now. He's brought Hoffenheim into the Champions League for the first time. He's managed over 100 games at the age of 31, had to retire at 20 with injuries. And he's moving to Leipzig, but he's staying on to do this full season at Hoffenheim. And they haven't started well. I mean, the Alex Ferguson lame duck manager experiment generally shows these things don't work well. It's a weird one, isn't it? They were playing Leipzig at the weekend. He had to shake hands with his new future director of football.
Yeah, I don't like it personally. Just probably, you've alluded to it there yourself, Joe, just in terms of how it changes the mentality inside the dressing room, how he's perceived, how he's viewed by the players. And I think people understand kind of human nature. You're looking up at your manager, he's reading you the riot act, and you're looking at him thinking, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but really?
Yeah, you'll be gone.
How much do you mean that? Do you know what I mean? You're going to be away. You're going to be away in 9 months. 12 months. I mean, how much does it matter to you? So, no, I mean, potentially you keep that kind of information, even if it's agreed under wraps. I would have thought it's in the best interest, certainly of Hoffenheim. You could argue maybe Leipzig. I don't think that really helps the Leipzig manager in terms of, well, he's a bit of a lame duck as well. He knows
he's going to move to director of football.
He's going to move to director of football, so not so bad in that respect, yeah. So, from a Hoffenheim point of view, I don't think it's good business. And like you said, I don't think it's a coincidence in terms of how lethargic they've been in the opening stages of the league. Yeah. I really feel as if it does change the dynamic inside the dressing room. What surprised me, Joe, was the team he's gone to. He was being linked with a lot of the top jobs. Nagelsmann, the end of last, had a great season last year.
Yeah, I mean, Hoffenheim, they've got about 4,000, population of 4,000. It's a small place. He's got them into Champions League for the first time. He took a phone call from Madrid over the summer. And he's got a young family. It's fairly concrete reporting. Doesn't want to move his family outside of Germany just yet. Anyway, I mean, it's kind of hard to turn down Real Madrid. He seems to have. I don't know how many. They may have just been sounding him out in a very vague way. Would you potentially be interested? I mean, you kind of think if they rang him and said, "The job's yours, 10 million a year, let's go," he wouldn't have said no. So I don't know what the nature of the call was.
He's a very young manager, Joe. I mean, it wouldn't be the first manager to go to Real Madrid and be scarred from the experience, and he probably thinks, well, why take that gamble now? Time's on my side, reputation is good. Even his personal situation, that's just the reality. We all experienced that, Joe. That may have come into it as well, but even still, though, you talk about sideways. Obviously, more money investment, I'd imagine, at Leipzig. You've mentioned about Hoffenheim. Not a huge amount in terms of money to be invested into the squad, so he might potentially find himself in a better situation there at Leipzig going forward, with kind of money behind him to spend. And he's probably taking a more mature view, saying, I'm happy, I'm doing well, I'm enjoying it, I'm still growing, I'm still learning as a coach, and maybe that opportunity will come again.
He's still 30 years old, it's scary. Just heard Mourinho's pre-match notes and that off the ball. The club is becoming a soap opera stroke reality TV show. I can't help but think Mourinho is playing to the fans with the whole club is bigger than the player nonsense. The whole situation is a mess. Yeah, Mourinho this evening before the Valencia game in his programme notes, talking about his various rules, his golden rules, which must be followed. The team more important than the individual. He might as well have in brackets here, I'm talking about you, Paul. And the crest on the chest more important than the name on the shirt. This is me, this is how I work, this is what I ask of my team, my group, my club. So, I mean, he's really milking it, Mourinho.
But he's putting down, but again, Joe, he's putting down his players indirectly, not even that indirectly. You know what I mean? He's done it individually with players over the past couple of years. We don't even need to reference all the players. We're not just talking Pogba here. Half a dozen players. And now he's kind of in an indirect manner. He's doing it to the whole group. You've picked out Pogba, but if any player in that squad, I take it as a personal insult. There's no need for it. You might play well generally out there in terms, you're talking about the Man United supporters be lapping this. I'm not sure they are. Die-hard Manchester United supporters, I don't think he'd be buying this. This is coming out too often from Mourinho. I think they get a little bit tired of it, to be honest with you. And when I look at that Manchester United squad, Joe, I don't know the dressing room too well, but what I do know, it looks a good group to me. They look a real kind of, generally speaking, the core of that group, a real honest bunch of players who actually would be prepared to go out and put a shift in, week out. And again, I'd refer to what we spoke about earlier in the programme. If you're not getting the best out of the players, the body language isn't great, they're not perceived to be giving their best, you've got to ask why. And you've got to look beyond the individual player and his mindset. You've got to look at the environment at the football club.
The team this evening, De Gea's in goal. It's a back four which has Luke Shaw and Valencia as captain as the fullbacks. He's gone for Smalling and Eric Bailly. And then it looks like a 4-3-3. Pogba and Fellaini and Matic in midfield, and Lukaku with Rashford and Sanchez either side of him. So that's the team this evening. I know you said you thought it was maybe noticeable anyway that Fred didn't get his game. You talk about work rate. One of the stats from the weekend is that Manchester United in the high intensity sprinting stats were by actually a good distance the lowest in the Premier League all weekend. They managed 59 sprints between them. The next worst team were Wolves, who had 75. They were 19th. So United had 59. You want to go up to some of the top ones. Liverpool had 154. Huddersfield 125, Arsenal 122, Chelsea 119. Lukaku sprinted 4 times. Look, it's a stat, and it was a different kind of game and everything.
No, I think it's got relevance.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, the same stats, taking or leaving from me. But this is one of the stats that I actually pay a little bit of attention to, because it's an indication how hard the team is working in and out possession of football. And from what I saw the game of the weekend, Manchester United out possession. Yeah, got back into defensive shape, but no real pressure on the ball. And you only get pressure on the ball by running hard over 10 to 15 yards, metres, whatever you want to call it, and making that run time and time again. You mightn't get the ball, but you get the opposition player's head down. You might force a mistake, force the ball backwards. The next player does the same. So you're really working hard, and you're making it difficult for the team in possession. I didn't see that. West Ham had it all their own way in possession of the ball at the weekend. And then in possession, run. get ahead of the ball, run into the spaces in behind, run into the channels, kind of be dynamic in your movement, plant your feet and sprint 15 yards the opposite way to receive the ball, even to create a bit of space for an opposition player. That's where, for me, that particular stat is relevant. If that's not happening, those things aren't happening that we're talking about, and that's a worry.
Well, Antonio came on with 7 minutes to go and sprinted the same number of times as Lukaku. Snodgrass sprinted 5 times in 18 minutes, which is more than Lukaku, more than Pogba, more than Fellaini. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just seems to be a mess. The latest on the player situation, Valencia didn't attend the derby game, and this seems to have really peeved off Mourinho. So the report is they're barely on speaking terms, even though he's his captain. Young played at right back at the weekend, and Valencia is back in this evening. It seems Alexis Sanchez increasingly frustrated with Mourinho's tactics. According to The Sun, Mourinho allegedly made it clear he doesn't want to have his tactics continually questioned by Sanchez. And Sanchez was brought down to London for the West Ham game and had to sit in the stands, and he was furious. And then the Pogba thing is ongoing. Even if 10% of this is true, he needs to manage these players.
Yeah, he has to. He needs to manage the situation better. Yeah, I have been critical of Mourinho over the past couple of years for that reason. I don't think he's managed individual players as well as he could have. The Sanchez thing, I've said it before, Joe, he's brought that problem on himself. If he was Mourinho's son, he was desperate to get him in. It was a big mistake, and that's not hindsight. I said at the time, I didn't know why they were getting him. I think he's high maintenance, this fella, inside the dressing room. If he's playing every single game and he's been pampered, yeah, absolutely, no problem. But once he's not getting things his own way, that means not starting every game and getting 90 minutes in every game. For me, it's a problem. We saw that at the tail end of his Arsenal career. And Mourinho's now experiencing that. Plus the fact he didn't need him. With the talent they have in those wide areas, they really didn't need him. So that was a problem for me. He's actually brought upon himself, Mourinho. So it doesn't help. All those individual kind of battles that he's pitching himself up against at a time when really he's got to be pulling the whole thing, trying to pull the whole thing together into one kind of cohesive unit. And it seems to be putting out fours all over the place.
Yeah, it's hard to see this turning around at this stage, isn't it?
No, it feels as if it's gone. Is that it's only a matter of when, really, Joe. I think what's going in his favour is the fact that Manchester United offered him a contract not too long ago. It's pie in their face if they actually show him the door. At this particular time, I don't think it reflects particularly well on the club. And of course, the club, how it kind of projects itself, how it's perceived is important. So I think the ideal would be for United to hold forward till the end of the season. But if the dressing room continues to fracture between now and the end of the season, then ultimately the club will have to step in. It'll get to such a bad state, it'll be so toxic around the football club that they'll literally have to be shown the door. And it won't be a case of him or Pogba. It literally will be him, because Pogba won't be the only issue around the dressing room by that time.
It's gone full time. Manchester City have beaten Hoffenheim 2-1, so that's a very nice 3 points for them, and they were 1-0 down early on in that game. Did the unnamed mystery voice player fulfil his potential, or could the unnamed mystery voice player have achieved more at the top level, says Darren in Carlo? He did a thing on BT Sport recently, I'm sure you saw. Did you see that interview where he was with...
No.
He was just talking at length about how, frankly, for the latter half of his career, he was stood on the pitch just frustrated because, midfielder might get the ball. He knew the run he should make. He said, if I make this run, I'm going to pull my hamstring. So he said he knew he had turned into a player who was coming short, not doing very much, laying the ball off, and trying to get into the box to score that way. But the way he scored when you first saw him burst on the scene, he said in his head, he said it was almost like painful mentally to be on the pitch. Certain situations that happen on the pitch, his instinct would be to go, and he'd have to check himself. He said it was miserable.
And that was from his time. I knew he had serious injury problems when he came back and signed from Newcastle, so I'm guessing it's from that time onwards.
Yeah.
No, I have real sympathy for him there, because I wouldn't call him a one-trick pony, the particular player you were talking about, but that was it. That was the real strength of his game. It wasn't just the fact that he loved to make that run in behind defenders and the pace that he had. Again, it was the intelligence, the timing of his run, realising where the space was, looking at the numbers of the defenders. So I give him credit for that. We talk about Overmars in terms of pace and intelligence. This player had that as well. And like you were suggesting, when he had to play, turn into a different type of player, one that maybe came short, link things up, more of a technical player, he didn't have that. He never had it. So if it was injury preventing from that, that must have been a huge frustration on his part.
Yeah, he talked about being embarrassed at Stoke as well. It's just, he could sense the younger players were going, really? Is this the great... You know?
I am a little bit when I think, if you still can't mention his bloody name, it seems ridiculous we're talking about, we can't mention. But that first half of his career, absolute magic.
Yeah.
Even that move abroad, for me, had relative success with that move abroad. Didn't play every single game, but actually really impressed when he played for that prestigious European powerhouse.
We can still give these can all count, these all count as clues. So we're not in breach of any rules. These are all clues.
But for me, when he not necessarily the first club when he when he came back to England, the northeast,
Newcastle.
The next one that he bounced in the northwest of England,
Stoke.
Come on, Joe.
Where did he go after Newcastle?
Where did he finish? The northwest.
Oh, United. Jeez, I even forget the United.
That was the one for me, which I think he must do deep down think that I really need to make that move, because his reputation, because of that, where he initially started his career,
at Liverpool,
absolutely
ruined.
And that's a shame, because he should be held up there as almost one of their iconic players, and he's not.
Yeah, we had him in studio here. I was interviewing him and asked him about that whole situation, and he said, "Look, I knew Liverpool fans wouldn't like it, but I mean,
was it worth it? A bit part player."
He said it was. He said it was really? To work with Ferguson, to be part of that, to win a Premier League medal, to contribute the moment against Man City where he scored the goal. But I'm with you. I don't think it was worth it. I think you've cashed in the love of the Liverpool fans. He said, by the way, he tried after Madrid to come back to Liverpool. And Liverpool wouldn't pay whatever. Newcastle paid about 15 million for him.
Yeah.
Benitez was willing to give 12, and he was saying to Madrid, "Can we make this happen, please?" And Madrid said, "Look, 3 million quid. We're getting 15 million for you here. We're not selling you for less than that."
I would have made up to 3 million.
Maybe.
If some buts.
We'll take a break. I mean, there's people out there.
Who the hell is that player we're talking about? Who is he?
If you don't get the mystery voice tonight, maybe don't ever listen again. You should be ashamed. We'll take a break. After 8 o'clock, we have Padraig Harrington, by the way, fresh from victorious Ryder Cup vice captaincy.
But as soon as I lifted my head, then I thought, he's got no chance.
Off the ball on Newstalk. It's true. Prevention is better than cure. That's why at over 60